The world just changed. Bitcoin just hit 126,000, shattering every all-time high we've ever seen. And gold, the old king of safe havens, just crossed 4,000 an ounce for the first time in history. And now, even mainstream media is admitting Bitcoin has safe haven status. This is what we've been talking about for years. Digital assets, really, Bitcoin, are no longer the alternative. They are the destination. Get ready because today we're breaking down what's driving this explosion, what it means for markets, and how this could be the clearest signal yet that the financial system is rewriting itself in real time. What's up, family? It's Coach Masi, and you're locked into the Daily Hodl, where faith meets finance, and we break down the biggest moves in Bitcoin and beyond. Before we dive in, though, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to breaking it all down for you right now. Let's spread the truth about what's really happening around the world financially. And remember, this content is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own research and hodl with wisdom with your own money. Let's start with the headline. Bitcoin has officially shattered 126,000. Just a year ago, we were sitting around 60K, half of today's price. This isn't hype. This isn't some short-term, quick live pump and dump. This is reality. What we're witnessing is a full-scale revolution of Bitcoin as a global safe haven asset. Institutional demand is relentless. ETFs are absorbing supply faster than miners can produce it, and OTC desks are running dangerously low. Exchange balances are at multi-year lows. In other words, basically, there are fewer coins available than ever before. And when scarcity meets demand, well, the price doesn't just rise, it explodes. But the most telling sign? Who is finally talking about it? Mainstream outlets like Bloomberg, CNBC, and even some of the oldest legacy banks are now using the word safe haven and Bitcoin in the same sentence. That's not just news, it's a psychological shift. It's the market finally recognizing Bitcoin as more than just speculation, more than an experiment. This is a turning point. Bitcoin is no longer just a digital asset or magic internet money. It's being positioned alongside gold, real estate, and other traditional hedges. And unlike those assets, Bitcoin is borderless, 24/7, and immune to centralized policy decisions. Every data point reinforces this narrative. Shrinking supply, growing institutional accumulation, mainstream acknowledgement. This is validation at massive scale. And for hodlers like yourself, those paying attention, this is the moment where Bitcoin cements its role as the ultimate digital store of value. The market isn't just, chasing the price. It's embracing a paradigm shift. And here's the kicker. We're only at the beginning. Scarcity will continue, adoption will accelerate, and each all-time high tells a story of confidence building outside the traditional finance system. And as Bitcoin climbs, something incredible happened today. Gold broke above 4,000 for the first time ever. Now, if you've been following this show, you remember I told you Bitcoin tends to follow gold with about a 30-day lag. Well, gold moves first when investors sense fear or instability. Then once people realize the system's shaky and liquidity starts flowing, Bitcoin follows. And it does so with power. Well, that 30-day lag is just hit perfectly. Gold moved first, now Bitcoin's making history. What this tells us is that the market is in full safe haven rotation. Investors aren't just chasing stocks anymore. They're hedging against uncertainty, inflation, and global risk. And unlike gold, Bitcoin can move millions across the world in seconds without a middleman. That's not just an upgrade, that's a financial evolution. You see, this is where it gets deeper. The real story isn't about just price action or the shift in perception. For years, mainstream media and traditional investors mocked Bitcoin. It's volatile, it's risky, it's not backed by anything, it's nothing. Now those same voices are calling it a hedge, a store of value, and a safe haven. Why? Because the fundamentals of Bitcoin haven't changed, the world around it has. And I'm happy about it. You see, governments are still printing, debt is still ballooning, inflation is cooling on paper, but the cost of living is still climbing. Investors are tired of broken systems. They're looking for something independent, predictable, and scarce. And with Bitcoin capped at 21 million coins, that's ultimate scarcity. No policy, no manipulation, no surprise dilution. That's why this move feels different. This isn't a pump, it's recognition. Let's break down why Bitcoin and gold are surging together, though. Liquidity surge. You see, rate cuts have opened the floodgates. When money is cheap, assets pump. You have deficit spending. The U.S. government is running over $2 trillion in annual deficits. That weakens the dollar and drives investors to hard assets, especially as China sells U.S. treasuries and moves into more gold. You see, global uncertainty is also here. From geopolitical tensions to government shutdowns, the world wants stability, and Bitcoin offers it in digital form. And then you have institutional FOMO. From pension funds to sovereign wealth funds, the big players can't afford to miss the run. They're finally moving in. You see, we're watching the early stages of mainstream adoption. Not retail hype, but long term capital migration. This isn't the dot-com bubble. This is the digital gold rush. So when mainstream media says Bitcoin has safe haven status, it's more than just a headline. Again, it's validation. Are you paying attention? For 15 years, this community has been mocked, doubted, dismissed, and yet here we are. The same people who called Bitcoin a bubble, a scam, digital tulips are now admitting what we've already known all along. Bitcoin isn't a fad, it's financial truth. When chaos hits, people always look for safety. For generations, that meant gold, a timeless store of value. But the world has changed. Our money is digital now. Our communication is digital now. Our entire economy runs on the internet. So it only makes sense that our safe haven, well, it's involved in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is becoming what gold once was, but smarter, faster, more transparent, and open to anyone with a phone. And here's the part that gives me chills. This shift isn't being driven by central banks or billionaires. It's being driven by you and me, everyday people, the faithful, the workers, the dreamers, the families who want something real they can pass on. That's why this movement matters so much. It's not just about money or markets. It's about freedom. Freedom from broken systems, freedom from inflation, freedom from the idea that only the elite get access to wealth creation. You see, Bitcoin gives ownership back to the people. It's not just digital gold, it's a declaration of independence in a digital world. Now, I want to remind everyone of something powerful. When Bitcoin's running hot like this, well, emotions run even hotter. You start seeing green candles everywhere, and well, your portfolios start pumping, your group chats are buzzing, memes are being sent, screenshots of your portfolio, and suddenly everyone's an expert again. That's when the real test begins, because right next to the excitement comes greed. Right behind confidence comes FOMO. And when the chart turns red, even just a little, that's when anxiety starts creeping in. But here's the truth. Your power doesn't come from emotion. It comes from conviction. Stay grounded. Celebrate the wins, but don't lose discipline. Whether it's Bitcoin, your finances, or your faith. Real strength doesn't come from chasing hype. It comes from showing up every day with consistency and purpose. You don't win the game by reacting to every candle or every headline. You win by holding your vision when everyone else is losing theirs. Because while the world's chasing noise, the faithful hodlers like yourself, the disciplined, are building something that lasts. That's the difference between hype and legacy. Looking ahead, this week could be one of the most pivotal moments for global markets this quarter. Even with the government shutdown cutting off parts of the data stream, all eyes are still on the Fed, inflation expectations, and how investors are positioning themselves heading into the final stretch of the year, Q4. You see, here's the key. One word, liquidity. If the Fed hints at easing, or if investors start rotating back into risk-on assets, Bitcoin could be gearing up for another explosive leg higher. Momentum traders, institutions, and retail investors are all watching the same charts right now that we are. And the setup looks powerful. But on the flip side, if fear returns, if markets start pricing in more uncertainty or another wave of tightening, that's when Bitcoin might truly prove its purpose. This is where it separates itself from traditional assets and reminds the world why it exists in the first place, as a hedge against chaos, currency debasement, and broken policy. Whether we see another pump or a pullback this week, well, it's all about one thing, conviction. Bitcoin doesn't move on headlines. It moves on belief, scarcity, and growing recognition the financial system is shifting under your feet. So buckle up, because the data may be frozen, but the Bitcoin narrative is heating up. You like that, huh? So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Bitcoin's new safe haven status is real, or is it just another narrative? And what's the next milestone? 130K? 150K? Beyond that? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, and most of all, subscribe to this channel so you never miss another episode. And make sure you share this with someone who understands that Bitcoin is changing the world. Well, that's your Daily Hodl. Stay sharp, stay disciplined, and as always, Lead.Pray.Hodl. I'll see you in the next one.